This video will look at the Now SDK fetch command in the CLI. So I'm in my PDI and I have an example application. This is actually an application that we built in that we created in our previous video. And I have it open in Studio here. And then locally on my computer, I have the directory open, the example-app directory that has the local copy of this same application. So if we look at, just to look briefly at the structure in the .metadata directory, if we go to the update folder, we can see here are all of the files, the application files that are contained in this application. So these are the same files that we see over here. Well, some of them, because some of them are not listed in Studio, but if we were to go into the actual application here, and we look at these files, right? So there's 31 files in here, and most of them are in this directory, but not all of them. So there's even some files like the modules for the actual SDK, the sys underscore module. So those are not in here. Those are elsewhere in here. They're in like the source directory. Anyway, that's not exactly what this video is about, so I won't go down that rabbit hole. But roughly, this folder contains the application files. So first thing I want to do is on my local copy, I just want to make sure I have the latest copy of all these files. So I'll do a now-SDK fetch. And so it's telling you what it's doing. It's going to go grab it from the instance. It does have this important warning here that updates to JavaScript modules are not included when fetching application metadata from your instance. So that is, for example, the files that are found here in sysmodule.list. So this is actually a different application. Let's just narrow it down to the right application here. So it's this. So these files are not downloaded back to the local copy. Because these are the files that this is the reason why you have the local copy to begin with. It's because you're building these modules. Okay, so there's that warning. It tries to go up there. It logs in as admin because this is what we set up for the authorization. It downloads the metadata, and it actually downloads it to a zip file, and then it unzips the file. And so here it's telling you it successfully downloaded and unzipped it. And then it's going to tell you list of downloaded metadata files. So if anything changes, you'll get some additional files in here. And I think these files just always get downloaded and written over. And then and we'll see this in a few minutes, when we make some changes, you'll see that those changes are reflected here. So now let's go ahead and intentionally make the same mistake I've made, and so we can see what happens. So let's say we now go into the instance and we make some changes, right? Let's change this business rule from new BR. We're going to call it new BR with changes, and we'll update it. Okay, now let's say we get distracted and we forget about that. And now we're working on modules again and packages, and so we get our app all ready to go here, and we say, okay, I'm ready to upload this app again. So I'm going to do a now SDK build. So now it's going to build my local copy of the application, including all the files I have in the metadata folder in the update. So it's building the entire application. And this does take a few seconds to run. Okay, so it built the entire application, and it dumps those into the dist folder. You can see the structure of the dist folder is the same as the metadata folder. So this is the built, these are the built copies. And it also zips all these up and throws them into example app. I think it's this one, the incremental one. Okay, so now let's deploy it. Now SDK deploy. So now it's right. I love this. I like this. It's telling us what it's doing. It's always important. And here we go. So here it gives you some stats. So it updated one file. That's interesting. We'll come back to that. And right, we can see it gives you the link to tell you where, what it updated. Here, let me just copy that because I don't know what's going to happen here. Okay, so let's go back to our browser. Let's go back to the instance. And we come back here, and if let's even do a refresh here. We go to the business rule that we updated on the instance before we did the deploy, and we can see that our change is gone, right? So our change got written over by the local copy, by the deployment. So the reason I do this, because I made this mistake where I did exactly this. I made some changes on the instance and then forgot to go and fetch them from the server, and that's what ended up happening. So if we go to the history, let's see if we can see that. Here we go, upgrade details, and this file name was updated. So sysscript ending in AF06, the sysid ends in AF06, which should be this guy here. How can we see that? AF, that's interesting. That is not the same one. I'm just trying to see which AF06, let's click in here. This might be well, I'm not sure actually. Sysscript AF06. So this is the one that was updated. This is the file name. Let's go into the application. Now I'm curious as to how that happened. Going down a bit of a rabbit hole here. I'll stop myself in a second. We're going to go here. We're going to go example app. Let's go over to the application files. So I want to see sys script. Okay, so that must be something else. Maybe that's the update. Not exactly sure. I'm pretty sure that this is referring to the actual file that got updated. I'm sorry, the business rule. But I'm not exactly sure. Oh, here, show related record. Yeah, business rule. And where's the name of that business rule? No, okay. It was, no, I don't know. This is sysname, but I think that's a different business rule. Yes, it is. That's not the business rule that, right? The name is uppercase. Yeah, so that's another business rule. An example app. Let's see. And, that may have been deleted, something like that. Not sure. Anyway, so that is not, so it just wrote over. And let's go to this business rule. And right, let's look at the versions. So this is the current version. from this morning, right? And let's see here. So hold on, am I in the right one here? No, I'm not. Okay, new business rule, it was this one. Okay, so this is the change we made here, this version. If we go in here, we can see the name. So we see new, right, the name here, new BR with changes. And this is the version that got written over here with this system upgrade that got written over, right, when we did the deploy. So here, well, this is the current version, so this is what we see here. So if this happens and you made a bunch of changes to your business rule or whatever file you're working in on the instance and it got written over, of course you can always go back to this to the previous version and then just revert to this version, right? Makes it nice and easy. Okay, so let's do, okay, so I did that, made that change. So now we open up this business rule. Again, I reverted it. So now we have with changes. So now let's go back and do it the right way to our local copy. And we're going to go in here and do Now SDK fetch. Actually, before we do that, let's take a look at the update folder. And oh gosh, I should have remembered which one it is. AFB. I think it's this one. Yeah, it's this one. So we see the name is newbr dash nothing, right? So it doesn't have what we had up here with changes, newbr with changes. Okay, that's currently what this copy has. So let's do a fetch now. And it's going to go up to the server and grab the file. And I believe it's going to report that it downloaded a new file here. Hopefully I won't be lying. Okay, there we go. So we see our the three files, and let's see, it looks like it fetched this syshub flow. That's a flow, so I don't know, maybe something changed with that. I'm not sure what happened there, but here's our business rule. So syscript AFC3. So now if we go up to, here, let's close that and reopen it. This is AFC3. We can see our new BR with changes is up here. That's in the metadata update folder. Now, if we go down to the dist app update folder and we find syscript AFC3, we can see it still has the old name because we haven't built it yet. But now if we were to do a deploy again without building, it's going to go and write over that file again because the built copy is still the old copy, right? So we have to do the build and then do the deploy. So let's just do the build quickly. Okay, I paused the video and continued it to spare you the dead air. So now we built it, and now if we go back to the the dist folder, and we go to update, and we look for our script AFC3, now the name is newbr with changes. So now we're ready to deploy this thing, and we won't write over anything in the server because we have the latest changes. So moral of the story, really, this 15-minute video could have been summed up with, before you do a Now SDK deploy or a build, make sure you do a fetch. Now-SDK fetch, and then build it, and then deploy it. Do it every time. Just fetch every time, because it's not going to write over any of the things you've been working on in here, because you're only working on modules in here. And it's just going to grab the latest metadata from the files and do it. So again, moral of the story, always do a fetch before you do a build. Thanks for watching.